Kim, it's been another enthralling couple of days of tennis in New York City. And I've got to be honest, Coco Gauff, if I'm Coco Gauff, I must be pretty sick of the sight of Emma Navarro right now.
Yeah, two slams on the trot. She's lost to Emma Navarro. And I was at the match at
Mm,
Wimbledon. I remember Navarro getting the better of Coco there, and it's happened yet again. But I think this time, especially, Coco Gauff will be so unhappy with the way she played. I mean, it
yeah.
was largely kind of her own doing, her unraveling,
Mm.
the amount
She
of
was the
unforced
master of her own
errors.
downfalls, wasn't it?
She really was. And, it's going to take a long, hard look at her game and, being able to perform or not perform on a stage like this, defending, the biggest title that you've ever won. 60 unforced errors, 19 double faults. You're not going to be defending your title with a performance like that, are you, Joel?
No, absolutely not. And particularly if you look at her serve, 19 double faults, 11 double faults in the third set. It really did feel like it was almost kind of impressive, I think, that it was as close as it looked like on paper, given, as I say, some of the tennis that Coco Gauff was producing. And it did really feel like a similar story, particularly around the serve and also the forehand as well, just kind of breaking down, not having that reliability that you need to to help you win matches. It just wasn't there. There was not a foundation to build upon, and as a result it always kind of felt like she was playing catch up, particularly in that third set.
Yeah, and we spoke last week about how she was going into her first round match, trying not to have that pressure of being defending champion and
Mm.
and viewing it through a different lens. The fact that she had something to defend meant that she won something last year, and therefore not to put too much kind of pressure on herself. So I don't really know if this was more of a mental pressure or it's just literally the execution from a technical standpoint. I mean, which do you think, Joel? Do you think it was pressure, or do you just think it's kind
Oh,
of her shot making just wasn't there, and it wasn't so much,
yeah,
you know?
I think the pressure is always there, and I think
Hmm.
pressure almost exacerbates technical issues or technical flaws. I've been reading a lot of literature about Arena Sabalenka and her serve and how, I think she felt like it was a mental thing, but actually brought a biomechanic into her team to kind of fine tune her serve, and actually that has worked wonders for her. She's serving some of the best, some of the best she's ever done in her career, and I think from that point of view, I think she realized, although she may have thought it was mental, actually there was a little bit of a technical aspect as well. And I wonder with Coco Gauff whether, as I say, first of all, there's kind of technical things going on, particularly with the second serve, because the number of 3 points she is giving away, it just feels like it's too much. And you sort of are getting to a point where you were wondering, despite, Coco Gauff and her ranking, you were just wondering or hoping that she could just get the ball into into a quarter of the tennis court.
Yeah, I think that third game in the last set, she threw in three double faults
Mm,
in like the last 4 points of that game. And it's just, that's when it just becomes cringe, from a sort of
yeah.
audience perspective. You're like holding your breath. Is it gonna go over or not? I mean, Emma Navarro is a very wily, tricky opponent. Like she's knocking on the door of the top 10 now.
Yeah.
She's the 13th seed here. So all credit to her because she stayed calm, did what she needed to do, whilst her opponent, just could not perform on that stage. And Navarro will play Paula Badosa um, to see if she can get through to, her first Grand Slam semi-final. So Navarro, she's really making inroads at the slams and and this year she's really been kind of one of the
Mm.
breakout stars. So it's fantastic for her and, also for the home fans. It's still an American going through, and we've also had, Pagula going through today. But in terms of Coco Gauff, is she a worse player than this time last year? Like, has she actually regressed, do you think, in the last 12 months? Or
I
is this just part of the
mm,
inevitable cycle of one's career?
I think there's certainly been let's first of all say she's still very very young, and
Yeah.
what she's doing on the tour is incredible at her age, and the maturity that she shows on the court. But I think what we've seen over the last 12 months, and particularly in the last few months, that I'd say I don't think we've seen necessarily Coco Gauff kind of improve her game. I think it shows that there are new levels that she needs to discover to, I think, get back to that form she was in, last summer. And she needs to address, I think, she needs to address these issues, whether, that's with her coach, Brad Gilbert, whether that's, you know, creating a different team environment and bringing like I don't know, a bio Sabalenka's biomechanic coach on board. I don't know what it is, but it feels like there are some clear issues here that have been around for a while, but they just have not, for whatever reason, been addressed. Now, I understand that some of these things are very fundamental and are hard to change, perhaps mid-season. These do not feel necessarily like things you could just kind of tinker with, but it certainly feels like Coco Gauff at the moment needs a new approach when it comes to her serve, because it really is, holding her back. And I think that, there are positive success stories with relation to, as I say, Sabalenka, Zverev as well on the men's side, who've had these sorts of issues and have come, storming back to play some of the best tennis in their career. So I don't see why Coco Gauff can't do it. But the worry I have is at the moment, I say this is not necessarily a fresh issue, but we've sort of just seen it just be a recurring problem. And I don't know if there's been a hesitancy from the coaching side with Brad Gilbert to just basically do nothing about it.
Yeah,
Or what?
I guess.
Or sorry, not do anything about it, but just sort of work within those limitations.
Yeah, it's like, how much do you change? Like, is it, do
Mm,
you fundamentally change it from the bottom up? Like, maybe that's a longer term overhaul, or you're just trying to, yeah, like work within a narrow kind of frame. So it will be interesting if decisions come with regards to Brad Gilbert and his role and his influence in due course. I don't
yeah.
know, but something maybe, I do quite like the idea of, doing the Sabalenka route, getting a
Yeah.
biomechanics coach, like you said.
I
I
mean,
think that would
maybe
be a
she's
clever
already
move.
tried it and we're just
Yeah,
not
we're not
aware
sure.
of it. But, it certainly feels like there are issues fundamental to her game that are just not working at the moment. And she needs kind of a new perspective. And I think the thing with Navarro, as you said, she's broken onto the scene, this year. And the Wimbledon result, I think for a lot of fans and probably for Coco Gauff as well, Navarro was a lot more of an unknown quantity. We didn't really know how good of a tennis player that she is. Whereas coming into the US Open, she would have been a lot more of a known quantity, because Coco Gauff, as I say, like she suffered, she was defeated by her at Wimbledon. So again, not to sort of take those learnings on and be the master of your own downfall, I think will be, as I say, incredibly disappointing from her. But she's such a strong character, very level-headed, very mature. She'll want to kind of get back to kind of where she was. So I have no doubt that she will kind of rise from this low moment.
Absolutely.